vehemently resist, object, and reject anything that will bring about interfering and working against our religion and our moral values. So, I will be very glad and happy that what the executives are claiming and they are saying, I pray God Almighty to make it true. If it is, we are home and dry. If it is not, we are calling on everybody involved that this agreement should not only be withdrawn, but an apology should be given to the entire Nigerians.
Also worried that the phrase gender equality, as reported, is a Trojan horse for deceptively bringing in all sorts of immorality to our country, as gender no longer means sexes, male and female, as traditionally understood. It now includes homosexualism, lesbianism, transgenderism, and animalism. Further worried that the signing of such an agreement with the aforementioned clauses, if true, violate our sovereignty and is a clear contravention of Section 12(1) of 1999 Constitution as amended. The federal government may have signed the agreement without exhaustive consultation.
My dear colleagues, this motion is one that is investigative. Because it's an investigative motion, I will even caution that we should not be judgmental in our argument. But clearly, where the federal government is going into an agreement, by the provisions of Section 12 of the Constitution, the Parliament ought to be carried along. And if the Parliament had been carried along, these arguments, even from our people that we speak for, would not have been there, because Nigerians would have been better informed. The problem is that of lack of information. And as a parliament, all we are saying is that we want to be satisfied that what the executive has told Nigerians is actually the true position of the fact.
I believe that the public has been misled over time about the Samoa Agreement. Let me not waste the time of this House, but state very clearly, there is no portion of that agreement that talks about LGBTQ or 150 billion. Hold on, let me finish. If you have it, bring it out here. I'll show it. In fact, 3 ministers have come out, including information, budget, and planning, in public to say there was nothing like that in the agreement. Go and Google your media. You will see the agreement, you will see it there. That it was never mentioned, it was never discussed. There is nothing like lesbian rights or gay rights. It is about human rights, environmental protection, and trade agreement.
Mr. Speaker, this agreement has certain clauses that happens to be in variance with our way of life. We are Africans, we are not Westerners. We have our laws, we have our way of life, we have our way of doing things. And as far as I'm concerned, this issue of human rights, which Nigeria does not in any way violate, should not be implicitly enshrined into this agreement and members representing the people. This is the people's house. This is the people's parliament.
I support very seriously the issues raised by the mover of the motion, the arguments put forward, and all the references he has made in the content and context of the motions are apt. But I would like to amend that wherever in the content of his motion the name NUPRC appears, be deleted. Because NUPRC has got no business whatsoever with refining, distribution, and sales of white products in the sector. All other agencies he has made reference to are of course involved, and I believe they will be in the best position to address this problem.
Does not have feedstock to refine. We have to go up to ask is NUPRC ensuring that the IOCs and indigenous oil companies are fulfilling their constitutional obligation on domestic crude quota allocation to the refineries. In ascertaining that, you'll be able to know who is at fault, why we will have those 4 refineries that are operating today, whether Aradel, which has a capacity of 11,000, but all it requires is just 3,500 barrels. OPEC, capacity of 10,000, all it requires is 1,750. And Dangote, capacity of 650,000, all it requires is 226,000. So in finding why ordinary 226,000 barrels is not available, you also need to find out, is the IOC sending to us their domestic crude obligation? And the only person that can help us answer that partly is the NUPRC.
Mr. Speaker, the House is further informed of the alleged return of PMS price intervention with its impact on domestic markets. There is also the allegation of product unavailability to marketers from NFPC retail, endless shifting of timelines for refinery rehabilitation, the nefarious activities of petrol depot, which have affected product distribution and caused scarcity. There is also the use of middlemen in trading and has negatively affected domestic crude supply.
Globally, Nigeria lags behind in women representation in parliament, among the lowest countries who have implemented this affirmative action. And we can see that in the countries of Rwanda, Andorra, and Kenya. And so, Mr. Speaker, I remember that many of the political parties, both the majority and minority parties, promised their constituents and electorates that not less than 35% of women will be involved in government. And this bill seeks, in fulfillment of that promise, to bring into parliament seats where that will be statutory for women, and so